Who is Diana? Dressed in a white and black polka-dotted gown, accented with pearls and modish garments, she exudes a pleasant temperament that draws the attention of any keen observer. With her clear, dark complexion and retro beehive hairdo, she captivates the audience with her grace and elegance. On the exterior, it seems as if she is at peace, but underneath, and as viewers come to see in Os Mens and Ben's Le Noire, she is everything but. When she arrives in Antibes for employment, taking on a job as a nanny and later turned housemaid, she faces internal and personal conflicts as she strives to rediscover her identity after being severely ostracized by her French employers. Woefully, she struggles between subjugation and liberation as she confronts the harsh realities of being a black Senegalese woman in a predominantly white town. The French cosmopolitan lifestyle she once fantasized of in Dakar now became a distant memory. Yet what led to this despairing view? Who essentially was Diana before Antibes, and who is she now? The subject of identity has long posed significant challenges to African filmmakers. As these creators navigate a post-colonial world, they continuously endeavor to define the African experience in their own image. With artistic tools at their disposal, they unveil a world which entices the viewer, prompting them to consider, if you don't know where you're coming from, then how do you know where you're going? To Diana, the answer may have seemed simple and straightforward, but as Le Noire conveys, she grossly underestimated where she was going. The same question of, if you don't know where you're coming from, then how do you know where you're going, is raised in Bicolo's Aristotle's plot, which pervades many African films. From Simben's Mundabi to his feature film Le Noir, the theme of who am I, who are we is fundamental to the role African identity and its relationship to the rest of the world plays in the movies. Like many scholars studying African cinema, Daniela Ricci introduces the concept of self-identity through the examination of Black diasporic filmmakers. What she argues is that the prominence of these creators impacts the substance, aesthetics, and creative processes of their films. And Os Mens and Ben is one such person who reflects individuals within this process, primarily through his characterization of Diana. Naturally, he employs the concept of nomadic cinema in Le Noir by depicting the sorrowful story of Diana in a post-colonial Antibes. Among one of the first African filmmakers to reintroduce African cinema to his people in a bid to defeat colonialism, he has resisted imperialism, racism, censorship, and linguistic limitations. He serves as an ideal figure who brought his audience into Senegalese culture through cinema. Yet it was his famous Noire that informs our understanding of the question and formation of identity. In this film, he perfectly depicts self-consciousness and belonging. From its opening scenes, the audience is exposed to the alluring depiction of Diana's character. Positioning herself as a non-administrable foreign body, she portrays herself in a way that is a sardonic take on African identity, which lies at the heart of all colonial discourses that infantilize, bestialize, or romanticize Africans. By refusing to get up at the designated hour in the morning, and by openly defying her superior's requests, she governs her body on her own terms, even committing suicide near the end of the film in a clear rejection of domination. This action alone forces her to acknowledge that her identity is not congruous with her employer's image of her as a simple laborer, or with her dinner guest's perception of her as a merely complacent sexual body. Though unfortunate, her suicide is representative of the control and power she reclaims from her employers, and it was through the use of her body and deliberate actions that she asserted control over her existence, which aided in her understanding of her identity. One could say that she was free at last, figuratively and metaphorically. Structurally, the film is centered on her trek into the interior of metropolitan France, and her encounter with the harshness of its indigenous inhabitants. It depicts the colonial suppression of the African by presenting a docile Diana who is unable to speak for herself. By drawing upon the disparities Diana encountered, Simben unironically focuses the film on the significance of the mask, which she offers as a gift to her employers, and which subsequently becomes a crucial aspect in defining her identity in relation to others. The mask, which serves as a form of reciprocity and equality of relations, showed Diana's willingness to be treated with respect and not as inferior to her counterparts. This theme, as one might expect, is consistent throughout the film. Nevertheless, the story of Le Noire showcases a strategy of resistance to French colonial and neocolonial definitions of African identity. Simben's portrayal of Diana is a telling reminder of what Africans experience when venturing to other continents. In a bid to defeat colonialism, he illustrates the problems that arise when attempting to discover one's sense of self and belonging in a foreign place. But be that as it may, and like Piccolo, he inquires, if you don't know where you're coming from, then how do you know where you're going?